said, I come from a land.
Good day everyone, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, a huge big welcome. My name's Lisa and this is Girl in the Garage. So today I want to show you a new technique for sealing paper and photos, fabric, whatever you want to put into resin, because we all know you need to seal the paper, otherwise it goes all like waterlogged and you get watermarks. Some paper, however, if it's a really thick cardstock, you generally don't have to seal it, and sometimes you can get away with not sealing photos, but it's best to. So what do you use to seal it with? Well, there's many different things, and I've got sort of a selection here. My favourite to use is the spray varnish. So it's just an aerosol, and this just happens to be a matte one. Now the reason I like to use this, I just find it easier than brushing on, you know, your various types of glues and whatnot. I just find, like with Mod Podge especially, I get brush marks. So I'm not saying you can't use any of these, they're all fine to use. It's just not my preference. Out of all these, the PVAs, they're fine. The Mod Podge, I actually prefer, if I'm going to brush on, I prefer this one. It's the Duraclear gloss varnish, but it is a gloss. Whereas generally when I'm doing my paper and stuff and photos, I like to do it matte. Hence I do the matte spray. But sometimes too, using these, you just don't give it enough coats and it doesn't seal properly. So it's not a foolproof method, but hey, whatever works for you. But in saying that, I've just found a new method, and I think it's easier because with all these, you've got to put a layer on and then you've got to wait for it to dry, and then you've got to reapply, and you've got to do that to the back and the front. So it takes time. And yes, you can dry it with a heat gun in between, but it still takes time. So this new method I've found, it is way quicker. So I bet you're dying to see what it is. And I can't for the life of me remember where I saw it. I did see it a little while ago, so it's not my method. I didn't come up with it, but I'm going with it because I think it's awesome. So what is it? Well, let me get all this cleaned up and I'll show you. So in front of me, I've got some other bits and pieces just to show you. So what we're going to be actually using, it's called laminating paper. Now, in saying that, it's not laminating pockets. So this is a laminated pocket, and you use this with one of those machines. Let me just see if I can open it. So that's your laminating pocket, and you put your paper in, and then you put it through your little machine, and that seals it all in. Now you could do it that way. I'm not saying you can't. That's another way. But I don't know if you've ever used a laminating machine. And sometimes when you do it, it goes all wobbly. You get those like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. But if I say wobbly, you probably know, if you've done it, you know what I mean. So it's not that. So let me just get that out of the road. Then we've got this. This is sticker paper. Now, I've used this before, so let me just get the packet out. So this is your sticker paper. So this is just happens to be for inkjet. Again, I have done this method. So basically you just pull the back off and you stick it on your paper. I've used that in resin, but it curled. And it ended up wrecking the piece I was working on because I wasn't actually putting it in a coaster. So let's pop that out of the way. So here I've got my laminating sheets, and these are matte A4, so very similar to the sticker paper, but in matte. You can get it in glossy, and I think I just got these ones from Temu. So they're just a cheap brand, but they seem to work. Well, they worked good for me. So it's very similar to the sticker paper. So one side is your matte, the other side has got your paper with the sticky bit that you pull off. And yeah, you just basically use it just like you would sticker paper, but it's laminating paper. And yeah, I think it's awesome. It's so quick and easy to use. So let me show you how I'm going to use it. So I've got my little circles cut out that will fit my coasters. And I need to make sure that my laminating paper is just a few millimeters bigger than the sheets I'm working with. So I've just got my little cutter here, and I've worked out how big I need to cut my circles. So just cutting that around, which is fairly easy. So there's my little circle. So I'll just cut out a few of these, and then I can show you how to apply them. So yeah, to me it's just so much quicker and easier than applying glues. So I've got my little template too. So if you don't have a cutter, you can just use your template, draw around it. I just got that little cutter from eBay, I think it was. You can also get like a paper punch that can cut out circles. So you just cut your circles out however you can. I'll be using papers and textured paper, but I don't see why you probably couldn't use it on other things. So I've already gone ahead and cut out my circles, and now I've got my laminating circles. So here's my gorgeous new mold from Molds and Shapes. And you can see that my little bits of paper fit in there quite well. Slight gap around. And then if I line up my paper, you can see that there is just a slight little gap, because we want to apply one to the back and one to the front, and then they'll actually stick together. So you just have to ensure that you have got a couple of millimeters either side of your bit of paper or whatever you're using, so that your laminating sheets get a good seal, because we don't want any resin seeping in to our paper or napkin or whatever we're using. So here's my piece of napkin or serviette, and it's 2-ply, so I'm just pulling up the ply one piece off the back, because we just want to use the pretty bit on the front. And here's my other piece, which again is napkin, and I've already pulled off the other piece of it. I can't remember now if it was 2-ply. Sometimes you get 3-ply. And this one is sort of like a textured paper that has sort of holes in the middle. So I actually did this in a resin tray, and I actually, because I didn't seal it before I put it into resin, sort of lost that textured, I don't know if you can see that, those sort of like lines in it. It's just like textured something that they've popped in the paper when they were making it. So yeah, by not sealing that, I actually lost the texture of that paper. So hopefully you can see that. That's the same textured paper I used in that tray, and because I didn't seal it, so you sort of lose, it just looks different. So we want to seal it so that we can still see the original texture in that. So hopefully you can see the difference. and we want to be able to keep our nice textured paper. So I'm going to put you on a quick fast forward and show you how I do this. So hopefully you saw that. There's our paper and our first napkin or serviette. And there's our second one. So they're fully coated front and back. And I thought I'd do this one with you. So I just wanted to make sure that there was a little gap all the way around the paper. And then I've just got some tape here just to easily pull it apart, because everyone knows I always struggle when I do that. But yeah, this comes apart pretty easy. So you can do it a couple of ways. You can, whatever's easiest. I suppose you just find a method. You can pull the paper all the way off or just half off. Half off is actually easier, so I might just actually do that. So I'll just pop this back on. So I'm just lining up my paper to my edge just so I've got that little gap, and I'm putting it down onto the side that's not sticky. So just pushing it now onto the sticky bit and then just pulling off the laminating sheet back and pushing it down flat. So I'll just take off my tape, get that out of the way. So you can see that I've got like a gap all the way around my paper. Now, if it's a little bit uneven, which happens sometimes when you put it down, you can trim that off. So I'm just going to trim that up now. And it's best to do that now, because I find once we put the other seal on the back, if you then cut your 2 bits of laminating sheet, you can get the seal sort of breaks and resin can seep in. So you don't want to cut that afterwards. So cut it now, make sure it's neat before you get your other piece of laminating sheet on there. So just ensuring that it's flat and there's no little air bubbles. And let's put on our other piece. So just lining it up again just to make sure it's the right size, and I've got a gap all the way around. And we're going to do the same thing, just get our sticky tape to help pull off that back sheet. But it does come apart pretty easy. I just find this is sort of a easier method when it works. Oh, there we go. So we just want to make sure that we've just got that a little bit folded back. And we're going to do the same thing as how we did our top laminating sheet. Just lining it up again. Now, me being me and half blind, just making sure that I'm sticking it on the right side and not sticking it both my bits of laminating sheet on the same side. which it's easy to do. But yeah, it's quite easy to do, and I just find after you've done it a couple of times, it's really easy, but just way more quicker than applying the glue and waiting for it to dry and doing it again and sometimes a third coat. And yeah, I think this is just absolutely brilliant. And yeah, the laminating sheets work really well. I'm sure there's probably, you know, better quality ones out there, but this cheap stuff from Temu, it did the job. I was really happy with it. Can't actually remember how much it was now, but I'll add a link in my description box. So just got my little soft edged scraper and just ensuring that both pieces are, you know, really pressed together and sealed well. And that's it. Look at that, beautiful. So easy. So can't wait to see what they look like in resin, especially the napkins, because generally they just yeah, fade away to nothing. All right, well, I'm going to get some resin and get my mold, and I'm just going to do a white back. So let's just see that our little circles fit in our mold again, now that we've got the backing on, or the laminating sheets on. Yep, fit in there perfect, too easy. So you do have a little gap around your coasters, but we can always disguise that with something. So here's one that I've previously done, and I just added some metallic pen around the edge just to cover the little clear gap that you'll get from the laminating paper. But I think they turned out quite pretty. And that was just standard paper. It's been probably nearly 2 hours, and I tested my coasters, hence a little lump there. So hopefully they're tacky enough, but we only get one chance to pop these down. So let's see how I go. Perfect. Once they're in, they're in. Well, I think I got to it just in the nick of time. So that's awesome. So once we get these in, all we have to do is our little top coat of clear resin. So I'm going to do that, come back, pour that, and then we'll be ready to demold, and we'll see how our laminating paper pulled up. So these are all finished. These are the ones I originally did. So I just did paint pen around these and then top coated them. So they turned out pretty. And these are the ones I just did for you guys. Love the glitter. So it turned out super cute. They've all been top coated. This one I just did with gold flake. So it's that gold flake, the Deco brand, which doesn't come off and isn't heaps messy. And I just put tack-it glue, and then you just press that down and the gold comes off, and then I top coated it. And then this is the one I put bubbles, or the little pearls, inside the resin, and that's how to top coat. And then this one, I did the bubbles on the outside and then top coated it. Again, I just stuck them on with tack it over and over glue. So yeah, I hope you like that. Super easy, give it a go. Just another technique, and I think it's awesome. Next thing I'm going to try is actually feathers, because feathers in resin, they go really dark and they sort of disappear a bit, if you know what I mean. So that'll be the next thing to try. So now all I'm going to do is put the cork on the bottom, and this is just stick on. So I've got some videos linked in my description box if you want to see how I do that. So a huge big thank you to my subscribers and members as always. Love you guys. Thanks so much for all your likes, comments and shares. Thanks to anyone who's bought me a cuppa or a cupcake lately. It's very much appreciated. Stay tuned for the photos. Go and check out my website. That's where these will be listed for sale. And stay tuned for the photos. Thanks again for watching. See you soon for the next one too, I hope. Bye. Don't forget